Good morning. Good morning. How you doing? It's the 27th of January 2020, Monday morning, and it's not a bad morning here in Salford, not bad at all. This is the newspaper review show, the worst live stream in YouTube history, with me, the BBG, not the BBC, the big baldy gammon. And thanks for the health inquiries there. I'm not bad. I'm a bit better than what I was. But I'm determined not to be missing any radio shows. And I haven't missed any radio shows. I hope you've noted that. Marked it down, written it down. Yeah. I've had about 500 unsolicited pieces of advice about medicines I should take and things I shouldn't take. I say unsolicited, people are funny like that. They think, I'll just tell him that he should take this and that and this and that, and he should just believe me and take it. People are funny like that, aren't they? Unsolicited. I don't want your fucking advice. I have access to healers and people that I trust and like. I don't want your silly criticisms about steroids. When your lungs are failing and your salbutamol inhaler isn't working in helping you breathe, isn't working in relieving those symptoms, you do from time to time, when you've got my particular problem, need a steroid or two to help to boost those lungs. And that's all I'm going to say about that. I take it all very good-naturedly. I've got a good-natured approach to the unsolicited advice and unsolicited criticism about what I choose to do with my health. Everybody's an expert, really. And ultimately, everybody knows fuck all. But there you are. We all know everything, and we all know nothing at the same time, if that's possible. Very good morning to you. I see you've not got your masks on yet to protect you from the coronavirus, which is rampaging up and down the countryside as we speak. Obviously, the focus of the news programmes this morning, the editorial focus is on the coronavirus. 80 people now confirmed dead in China. A country of about 60 billion. Well, 1.5 billion or 1.3 billion or whatever. Not going to dwell too much on the coronavirus. Spoke enough about it, I think, last week in the show and on Sunday View yesterday. So I won't say much more than that. Other than, we'll have a look at the front pages of the newspapers, because it does make some of the newspapers today. So let's just jump straight in then. Let's crack on. The Metro trapped in virus city. That's a clever headline, isn't it? Not. Number of newspapers this morning are also featuring pictures of the basketball player Kobe Bryant, who was killed in a helicopter crash yesterday along with his daughter, and there were other passengers. I think there were 9 people on the helicopter. Tragic thing for everybody involved, and it would appear maybe it was an unnecessary thing to happen. Blaming people, of course, is not the thing to do. People shouldn't be blamed. But I believe LAPD and Los Angeles' news companies, they had grounded their own fleet of helicopters because the fog was very bad, visibility was bad. So maybe the helicopter shouldn't have been in the air. But when people are in a rush, and people are in a hurry, maybe these things happen. I was mindful last night of the UK media coverage of it. I was critical of the coverage of it very briefly on Twitter. Some people didn't like that. Reminded me that a man was dead and his daughter. I didn't know him personally. I didn't know his daughter. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Of course it's a terrible thing for the people involved. But I was very much also mindful last night that thousands of people based in the UK took to Twitter to genuinely express their opinion, or to say that they didn't know who he was. And that's the point I was making. The coverage of it was absolutely ridiculous on UK media last night. Everything was dropped. Let's talk about Kobe Bryant, a brilliant athlete. I used to watch a lot of NBA, watch a lot of it in my time. Big Jazz fan, Stockton, Malone, Hornacek, loved the Jazz. Jordan, Scottie Pippen, of course, Luke Longley, Steve Kerr. Loved the basketball back in the day. Never any good at it. But it's not a big sport in the UK. It's a minority sport. Bryant, though a genius, certainly wouldn't be a celebrity in the UK, and the coverage of it was absolutely ridiculous last night. But a tragedy, nonetheless. So it is featured in the newspapers today. You don't take any pleasure in these things, but you have to be critical when the criticism is warranted. And the conduct of the UK media is disgraceful. Reading tweets from people who never met Kobe Bryant, let alone knew anything about him. You know, people tweeting, knowing that maybe their tweets would be covered by the news. Sycophantic, and it's disgusting, and it's vulgar. And I find it utterly sickening, to be honest, which is why I make my comments from time to time on these things. Not to be edgy or to be difficult or to be a bit of a prick. And I can be a bit of a prick now. But because it's warranted. Okay. Sport legend Kobe killed in helicopter crash is the Mirror. Superstar death shock. Again, vast majority of people in the UK never heard of the chap. The Mail, 20,000 spring clean heroes already. Legions of you are joining the Mail's litter clean-up campaign. I have to say, not on my street now, but on some of the surrounding streets, the litter problem is abysmal. It's dreadful. And whatever about saying, well, I pay tax, which you do, you pay it in abundance. You pay far more tax than you should pay. In fact, you really shouldn't be paying any taxes at all. Okay, including council tax. Where are they? There is something I call pride. Have a bit of fucking pride that the outside of your house, just outside your gate, is not covered in rubbish and bottles. You can pick it up like, you know, take some fucking pride in your neighbourhood, in your house. Drives me mad, that. This is the Germans. You wouldn't see it in Germany or in Switzerland. People have a bit more pride in their streets and in their pavements, directly outside their houses. They take a bit of responsibility. I might be triggering some of you now. I don't care. Clean up outside your house, you lazy fucker. Won't kill you. It'll take you 5 minutes. Don't wait for somebody else to do it. That's the Mail. Also, there's a picture of Kobe and his daughter, who apparently was a very good basketball player herself and was touted to be a future WNBA star. Terrible thing to happen. Huawei is threat to UK sovereignty, US warns. Mike Pompeo is the US Secretary of State. He's in the UK on Wednesday, and he's going to give it to Boris Johnson about Huawei. The UK government is employing the Chinese tech firm Huawei to help roll out 5G in this country. And the US says, you're letting the Trojan horse in the back door, and you shouldn't do it. And it will damage our relationship if you do what we say you shouldn't do. Do what we tell you to do. We have yet to see what the response of the UK government will be, if they will just carry on with Huawei or not. But again, this is coming up today in the media. In the media. There's a picture. Well, you can't see the entire picture. You can. That is an entire picture. There are several photographs of survivors of the Holocaust. Today is Holocaust Memorial Day. And the Duchess of Cambridge, is it? Kate Middleton, has taken some photographs which will be exhibited of some of the, I suppose, the last surviving men and women liberated from the camps, and Auschwitz in particular. So that's making the news today as well. There's the Daily Telegraph there. Let's move on. I will read some of your comments in a minute, by the way. Thank you for commenting. Thank you. Dementia patients let down by failing care, The Express. I've not read it, but there isn't anything new in that. But it doesn't make it any less annoying or worrying, the state of care homes in this country. Something we've gotten into on the programme. Something we've talked about with Dean Smith, listener to the show. Great lad. Runs a care home, does Dean, in Sheffield, if memory serves. And it's dreadful what's happening to care homes. And good care homes are not receiving the help they need either. The ones doing it properly. Dreadful stuff. You work like a dog all your life. You pay all the shitty taxes you shouldn't pay on the promise that you'll be looked after in your old age, and you won't be. You won't be. They'll farm your care off to a private corporation who's trying to scrimp and save and trying to hold back on spending, counting every penny because it exists as a money-making machine at the expense of your care. That's what's awaiting you and awaiting me in old age. That's what's happening. And fair play to the Express. The Daily Mail often talks about it as well. Excuse me. To the credit of the Mail and the Express, two right-wing newspapers. Experts fear 100,000 may have new virus worldwide, according to The Guardian. What a load of bollocks. What a load of monumental bollocks. That is. Just make up any number. Any number. Experts. I heard Kay Burley say the same thing this morning. Experts are saying, who, Kay? Which experts? Would you care to name them? It used to be a prerequisite. It used to be demanded of you, not necessarily by the public, but by your bosses. Your commissioning editors, your managing editors, your head of news, your head of programs wouldn't allow you say something like that. Experts fear they'd fucking kill you. Wouldn't they, Jean Ann? They'd kill you. Did you just say experts, Richie? Who the fuck are you talking about? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I better tell the audience who those experts are, because, of course, those experts don't really exist. Just made up experts. Burley said the same thing this morning. Experts warned that we're at the point of no return. Honest to God, there's another climate change story in the paper today, in the broadcast media today, and it is worded exactly the same as the previous climate change stories. Experts say the time is running out for climate change. Experts! Who says exactly? Who are these people? Okay, you get the picture. No need to labour the point. The Times. Britain open to world's best talent, says Johnson. We're approaching Brexit, allegedly. Friday, 11 p.m. Get the popcorn ready. Johnson is going to give a speech outside Downing Street at 10 p.m. where he's going to try not to be very triumphalist, not to piss off our European Union friends and neighbours and partners. Nigel Farage will be in Parliament Square at the same time. Bit like fucking, I don't know. I don't know what it's like. And they're going to talk about the fact that we're leaving. We're not really leaving. They've got months ahead of trade negotiations with the European Union. And the European Union are very smug about all of this and about where this is going. Again, I talked about this on Sunday View yesterday. The UK is saying, we'll get a trade deal with zero tariffs and all of that. And the European Union is saying, yeah, really? Oh, you can have that deal if you want, but we want the fisheries. We want the alignments. And we want freedom of movement to continue. So, nothing is ending on Friday night. The iPaper. Stranded Brits beg to be rescued from virus crisis city. Stranded Brits. They're stranded in China, a first world country, with an outstanding healthcare system, apparently. Particularly in Wuhan, apparently. The hospitals are amazing. Got everything there. So you're hardly fucking stranded, right? Right. The iPaper. All about the Financial Times. We never bother with that too much. UK said to give Huawei the go-ahead for a 5G network. So the Financial Times believes that despite the threats coming from across the pond, Bojo, Boris Johnson, is going to go ahead with Huawei anyway. I don't know this to be true, but I would imagine if at this stage the UK government decides to pull the rug out from under the feet of Huawei, there would probably be penalties involved. Financial penalties at this stage. Presumably Huawei has done a lot of work on 5G here, sadly and tragically, and would expect to be compensated for it. It's like the whole HS2 thing. Johnson is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Bombshell news coming out of HS2 yesterday from whistleblowers who worked on the project, saying that the government has been fucking stitched up over the whole thing. Financial Times talked about this on Sunday View yesterday. But that to scrap it now would cost an absolute fortune in penalties to the companies involved. Mad times. Shall we look at the front page of The Sun? See you in court, Meg. And rapists were like a pack of wolves. That's everywhere today. The story of the young girl, the young British girl, who was found guilty in Cyprus of lying about an alleged gang rape. She says she wasn't lying. It's a very, very worrying case, that. All the evidence points to the fact that she was telling the truth. But it seems the authorities in Cyprus were more concerned about preserving the image of the island as a safe place for young people to go and get pissed and to take drugs, rather than worrying about this young girl and what happened to her and bringing those responsible to justice. I believe that's generally what was going on there. There are people who don't like Israel, and I don't like Israel very much. They want to blame Israel and say the Israelis interfered. Not sure about that. We've heard from Cypriot women who say that they've been raped by tourists, not Jewish tourists or Israeli tourists, and they've had the same treatment. Cover it up, brush it under the carpet, pretend it didn't happen. There's a lot of money to be made on this damn island. Well, see you in court, Meg, is a reference to Meghan Markle's father, Thomas, who will give testimony in the court case. You see, Meghan Markle, is taking the Daily Mail to court because the Mail published parts of a letter that she sent to her father. Now, how did the Mail get the letter? Presumably the father gave it to them, right? She might be more pissed off with her father, but anyway, that'll be an interesting court case if it ever does go to court. And apparently he's threatening to spill the beans on everything, whatever that means. Do you remember he took ill very suddenly just before the wedding? Do you remember? And with absolutely no evidence whatsoever, I speculated that his sudden illness might have been intelligence agents slipping him something just to make him sick for a few days so he couldn't travel. Pure speculation, of course. The heart problem he had might have been totally genuine. I mean, he's not exactly the healthiest looking guy you've ever seen in your life. He's a big lad, God bless him. As we say in Ireland, he's a big lad, God bless him. But I don't know. What do I know? Nada. Read your comments in a minute. The Star. I see pest from the west. Weather's going to get pretty bad apparently. Over the next few days, it's going to be very cold. Bit of a cold snap coming. We just had one. Now we're getting another one. It is the end of January, you know. It is approaching early February, you know. We do get a lot of bad weather, traditionally, at this time of the year. And snow showers in some parts of the country later on. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. Alrighty. I've been asked by a few of you to show you little Leia, so I'm going to take her off of the future Mrs. Allen. There you are. Little fighter, there she is. Can you see her? Yeah, there she is. Having a go at the mic. You having a go at the mic? Well, I take the mic out of the way. There you go. There she is. Gorgeous girl. As presented by the lovely future Mrs. Allen, who won't be on camera this morning. I'll tell you why in a minute. There she is. All right, she's in great form. We've had her for 2 weeks. She's a loony. Off she goes. Lovely. Thanks, love. Future Mrs. Allen, I'm very keen not to appear on camera this morning, and this is why. Here's a file photograph of the future Mrs. Allen in the mornings. This is her before 11 o'clock, and that's on a good day. That's on a particularly good day, that. There she is. Some women just don't do it in the mornings, you know. They don't look good in the mornings. And she happens to be one of them. I try not to look at her in the mornings, you see. Hashtag me too and all that bullshit. Where was the hashtag me too last night about Kobe at the Grammys? You're some bastard for bringing that up, Richie. Well, I told you I can be a bit of a prick with the best of them. Some years ago, Kobe assaulted a woman in a hotel room. She sued him in a civil case. He settled out of court and he apologised to her even though he didn't accept blame. Where was Alicia Keys last night? Talking about that, you know? Makes me laugh, these people. The hypocrisy stinks, you know? Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. Long time ago, Kobe says she came on to him, but he settled out of court and apologised to her. So I'm just interested to see so many actresses and singers, female singers, coming out last night, you know, crying about Kobe. Okay. So it's Me Too when it fucking suits you, basically, is what I would say there. Right, let me read a few comments. Good morning, by the way. I am. I'm a prick. I told you before. John Waters, Irish journalist and author. Very accomplished Irish journalist and author. Will be on the show later on today. He's standing in the forthcoming Irish general election for the Anti-Corruption Ireland Party. And John will be on to talk about the impact of immigration in Ireland and why he's decided, as a writer, as a journalist, as an author, who's obviously written about politics and politicians in the past, why he's decided to throw his hat into the ring, to use that terrible, very well-worn cliche. So John will be on. And John Rappaport will be live from New York City in the second hour of the programme today to talk about the coronavirus. But John is going to take us on a trip down memory lane, not just to talk about swine flu, but to talk about these other scares that we've had, these numerous scares that we've been warned about, that have taken over media coverage over the years, and the ones that amounted to nothing. So I think it'll be a pretty decent radio show today. Hi to Paddy Dunn. How you doing, Paddy? Hi to Dave Coundley. There's Dave with some unsolicited advice there for my chest infection. Thanks, Dave. Don't take that to heart, by the way. Everything I say is with tongue firmly entrenched in cheek. I'm a piss taker. I don't get offended when people send me messages and ask me or tell me I should do this. I just find it funny because it's not something I would do. I don't give unsolicited advice to people on anything, even things I know about. I just don't do it. I just find people funny like that. I find them even more funny when they get annoyed because you don't take their advice. Anyway, hi to Peter in Rochdale. Patrick Cooney says, is there any way to donate something to the Trigger lads for their new equipment? I talked about this on Sunday View yesterday. Worst fucking live stream in history. Not the trigger warning live streams, they're pretty decent. My one. I could have size fit that little insert earlier on, but I couldn't figure out how to do it. Thousands and thousands of pounds worth of equipment was stolen from the office building. The building where trigger warning operates from, which is a building owned by a private developer. The building was broken into. Offices were ransacked. And Hayden Hewitt, the founder of TriggerWarning.tv, and his partner in the business now, Graham Booth, lost thousands of pounds worth of recording equipment. And it happened 3 years ago, the same fucking thing. It's terrible. And I eulogised yesterday about these lads and why I like them very much and why I support what it is they do. And they are running a campaign to try and raise some money for the equipment. I know you've been stung by people in the past that have raised money for things. I know you have. And that is why before today, you've never ever heard me recommend or even allow somebody come on my shows to ask for help or funding, because charlatans abound. Charlatans aplenty in the independent media. Fucking liars. These lads are genuine. Whatever they earn will be used to buy equipment to carry on not just their own show, which I know is Marmite for some of my listeners. I know that. I happen to like it. I think it's gotten exceedingly better in the last 12 months as they sit down on their sofa and talk about the big issues of the day with different opinions. And there's not so much of the madness that you would have gotten with the Live Leak show. Not that I'm criticising that. I just prefer the straight up, planned discussions about things. I really like that. And they do it very well. But they're not just doing that. They're making room for people like me to come in there and make television programmes as well. So if you can throw a couple of quid their way, do it. Even if you want to take the couple of quid that you're going to throw me next month and divert it to them, I can't really afford that, but fuck it, they need it at the moment more than I do, so give it to them. And there's a link there to where you can, it's to the site there, right? As you can see, it's a GoFundMe, trigger warning, GoFundMe, trigger warning and GoFundMe. They're genuine, and they don't deserve what happened to them, and it's bad luck. So there you are. So that's the answer to Patrick there. All right? Okay. Oakley dokley. I won't go into it again. Listen to the beginning of the Sunday View show. I explain what it is these guys are doing and why they're more concerned about promoting people with whom they disagree than they are in creating an echo chamber, which they're not doing. They're making space for people like me with whom they don't agree on very much. You know, vaccines, geoengineering, weather warfare. They don't buy into any of that. But they will go a million miles to help get it on the air. Enough said. Trigger warning on GoFundMe. Hi to Alina, to Dillip, to Scotty, to Graham, North Wales, to Julie, to Jared, to Occult Priestess, how you doing? To Ola, to Ricky, Chris Clough, to Acker, to Mike Rocock, how you doing, Mike? To John Smith. John Smith says this virus is pleomorphic and highly adaptogenic. It's 100% man-made by Big Pharma's assistance in Wuhan. P4 only biosecurity release, says John. John's an expert, apparently. Everybody's an expert. That's what social media, you see, is giving us. Everybody's an expert on everything. Social media